Merlin Ragos, the mother of former soldier Winston Ragos, who was shot dead by a policeman in Quezon City Tuesday, April 21, says her son did not deserve to die.
Sana naman, buksan nila yung mata nila. Incompok tayo ngayon. Hindi, yung pinatay nila, hindi drug addict, hindi pusher, hindi kung ano. Incom ang kalaban natin ngayon.
Ragos was shot by Police Master Sergeant Daniel Florendo Jr. for supposedly breaking quarantine rules and allegedly trying to draw a gun from his bag. Mrs. Ragos believes the law enforcers, who outnumbered her son and were all armed, mismanaged the situation. She says her son was suffering from schizophrenia and trauma after serving in the Philippine Army until January 2017. She also denies her son owned a gun.
Paano mo ba yan masasabing pagkakuha siya ng baril? Sinong taong loko-loko dito? Na pumig sa'yo kay baril kahit na anak mo yan, pamangkin mo yan, pinsan mo yan na may diferensya na ang utak. Papawakin mo ng baril.
The Quezon City Police District says Florendo is now facing a criminal and administrative investigation. The Philippine Army is also looking into the incident. Armed Forces spokesperson Edgar Arevalo says Ragos may have acquired his mental health condition when his former detachment came under heavy attack and he nearly died. Meantime, the Commission on Human Rights reminds law enforcers Thursday, April 23, they must prioritize the use of nonviolent means over force or firearms. CHR spokesperson Jacqueline De Guia cites the United Nations Basic Principles on the use of force and firearms by law enforcement officials, and says police should practice restraint if the use of firearms is unavoidable. In related news, Filipinos online demand justice for the fallen former soldier using hashtag Justice for Winston Ragos. Former senatorial candidate Samira Gutok tweets, "I don't think there's justification to what happened. During a pandemic, killing is not the solution." Kevin Tamayo released the death to President Rodrigo Duterte's order to shoot quarantine violators dead. Alarmed but not surprised given a president who spews violence every chance he gets. A Chinese warship aimed its guns at a Philippine Navy vessel on patrol in the West Philippine Sea on February 17. The Philippine Navy corvette BRP Conrado Yap was patrolling the Kalayaan Island Group, internationally known as the Spratlys, when it detected Chinese warship People's Liberation Army Navy or Plan No. 514. The Conrado Yap issued a radio warning, and the Plan 514 responded saying the Chinese government has immutable sovereignty over the South China Sea, its islands, and its adjacent waters. The crew of the Conrado Yap then visually observed that the gun control director of the Plan 514 was directed towards the Philippine ship. The gun control director tracks targets and makes all the main guns ready to fire in under a second. That meant the Conrado Yap was locked in as a target of the Chinese ship. Both warships went on with their voyage with no further incident. The Armed Forces of the Philippines Western Command, or AFP Westcom, says Thursday, April 23, this is a clear violation of Philippine sovereignty. The Philippine government on Wednesday, April 22, files a diplomatic protest with the Chinese embassy in Manila regarding the incident. Davao City is set to relax its coronavirus lockdown measures on Sunday, April 26. Mayor Sara Duterte will lift the enhanced community quarantine to make way for a modified community quarantine. She says people should not expect the situation to go back to normal, as the city aims to set up a second COVID-19 testing facility. Restrictions on mass transportation and establishments will be relaxed, and workers for some establishments can also go back to work. Establishments not considered essential will also be allowed to operate, but they should adopt a skeleton workforce and shortened work hours. Wearing masks will still be mandatory, and quarantine passes will still be required for residents going out of their homes to buy food and medicine. The Philippines has 6,981 COVID-19 cases as of Thursday, April 23, with 462 deaths and 722 recoveries. President Rodrigo Duterte is set to decide whether or not to extend lockdown, which is set to expire on April 30. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says Duterte's decision will hinge on the capacity of the Philippine health system to take care of coronavirus patients. Germany authorizes its first clinical test of a vaccine for coronavirus Wednesday, April 22. This green-lights trials on human volunteers for an RNA vaccine developed by German firm BioNTech and US giant Pfizer. The trial, the fourth authorized worldwide, is seen as a significant step in making a vaccine available as soon as possible. In Taiwan, President Tsai Ing-wen apologizes Wednesday, April 22, for major shortcomings within the military after a cluster of coronavirus infections emerged on a Navy vessel. 28 people on board the frigate Panxi tested positive for the virus after returning from a trip to Palau. Taiwan is held up as a model for its swift response to the outbreak, with just 426 confirmed cases and 6 deaths, despite its proximity and economic ties to China. Human rights groups condemn the arrest of Cebu-based artist Bambi Beltran. New York-based Human Rights Watch urges the Cebu city government to drop charges against the artist. She was arrested Sunday, April 19, for making a sarcastic Facebook post about the coronavirus situation. The statement also condemns the arrest of ex-Anak Pawi's Congressman Ariel Casilao and activists on their way to deliver relief goods in Norzagaray, Bulacan. In a statement, HRW says the government should end politically motivated investigations of people's reading materials and social media posts. The rights watchdog says the government is misusing COVID-19 laws on fake news against critics. Asian Forum for Human Rights and Development, or Forum Asia, echoes the call to drop charges against Beltran. In a statement, Forum Asia says there is a, quote, heightened use of repressive laws to target human rights defenders under the guise of a COVID-19 response. The Commission on Human Rights also expresses concern over Beltran's arrest. In a statement, the CHR says, quote, arrests should never be made as a default response to dissent.